Alright, so this video is going to go over the practice quiz number 3 I gave you, and I'm going to break this video up in two videos. I'm going to do the multiple choice questions, and I'm going to do a separate video for the aisle seating, theater seating type written program. Okay, so let's do this. Let list be an array list integer containing these elements. 257601. If you'll notice, these are integer objects. Which of the following statements will not cause an error to occur? Assume that each statement applies to the given list. Let's see here. So this is position 0. So, do what I always tell you to do. Type index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is there anything in position 6? Nope, that's an error. Can you add a double object to an integer array list? Nope, that's an error. Can I add to position 6, 9? Yep, that one works. Can I remove what's at position 6? Nope, there's nothing there to remove. And can I set position 6 to 8? Nope, there's nothing in position 8 or 6 to add. So make sure that your answer is C. 2, consider the following code segment applied to list an array list of integer values. Alright, so I gave you guys the answer at the bottom of these, so part of this is just going to be me going through how the answers work. Alright, so there's only two lines inside your loop that we're going to do. Alright, so length is 3. So 0 is less than 3, so we got 0 here. So in position 1 we'll add 0, so it was 6, 1, 8, so we're going to add a 0 in there. So now we got 6, 0, 1, 8. And then we're going to assign x to, and we're going to set list at position 0 to 2, and then we're going to assign that to x. So x is now 6. So at position 0 right here, instead of it being 6, it's 2018. Okay. So next up, length becomes 1. 1 is less than 3. So we do 1 plus 1 is 2. So at position 2, we'll add 1. So this was what it is. So 0, 1, 2. We just add this 1 in here. So now we got 20118. And then we're going to set what's in position 1 to 3. So 0, 1 is now 3, and the original value that was in here in position 1 gets stored in x. Okay, so remember, set your value, and then it takes what it previously was and stores it in a variable. You can do that, that's fine. So then we got 2, 3, 1, 1, 8. So then length is now 2. 2 is less than 3. So then we've got 2 plus 1 is 3. And then we'll add 2 to it. So in position 3, so 0, 1, 2, 3, we'll add a 2 there. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 2 is there. And then the 1 and 8 get pushed down. And then we'll set what's at position 2 to 4. So what do we have here? 0, 1, 2. So we set that to 4, and its old value of 1 gets set to x. So there's our final answer right there. 234,218, and that is A. Okay. Let's see here. 3. Okay, so consider the following method that will alter the matrix mat. So there's your original mat value. So we're going to pass mat and 2 to it. So that's the row. So if you notice, we're in a for loop where row is always going to be 2. So you're in a row 2, column 0, row 2, column 1, row 2, column 3, row 2, column 4, row 2, column, 5, so on and so forth. All right, but let me think. Length is 1, 2, 3, 4. So num columns will be 4. So it would only go up to column will only go up to 3. All right, so let's look at this value down here. Okay, so I got my original mat value. Oops. We got row 2, column 0. 0 is less than 4. So in row 2, column 0, assign it to 2. So that's what we do down here, row 0. So instead of it being 5 now, row 2, column 0 is now 2. So that's what our value is there. Row is 2, columns 1, 1's less than 4. So in row 2, column 1, we assign it to 2. So down here, this is row 2, column 1, that gets set to 2. Column becomes 2, 2 is less than 4. Row 2, column 2 is set to 2. So right here we have, I made a mistake there. That should be 2 right there. So row 2, column 1, 2, 0, 1, 2 is now set to the value of 2. Then we got column becomes 3. 3 is less than 4. Row 2, column 3 is 2. So row 2, column 3 is 2. Column becomes 4. 4 is not less than 4. So that's done. So what does it do? It just changes all the values in row 2 to 2. And so your answer is A. Okay. 4. This one's a hard one. I made a separate document for this one. This is a Barron's question, I believe. I don't think that you would get something. It's not that it's that hard. I just don't think it's easy to understand what they're actually trying to do. And so, because you don't ever see what swap actually does, it just says, so let's read this. Assume that a square matrix mat is defined by the following. So the size is greater than or equal to 2, so we just create one that's just 2, 1, 2, so 2, 6, 4, 3. What does the following code do? You've got this outer loop, then inner loop, and each time it's doing this swap method. You may assume that the existence of this swap method, interchange, so it's interchanging mat A and B and C and D. So you're changing one of these up somehow depending on what A and B is. So let's assume this is our matrix, okay? 2, 6, 4, 3, and I think we do that on all of them. That's what it starts with. Okay. So you've got a size of 2. So 2 minus 0 minus 1 is 1 right here. So we're saying is 0 less than 1? And same on this one right here too. Is 2 minus 1, so is 0 less than 1, and then right here is 0 less than size, which would be 2 minus 1, or 2 minus 0 minus 1, which would be 1 right here. And so then what we would do, we would take, and I think I do it best in this. So if our original is 2 by 2, 2, 6, 4, 3, interchange that. If I gets passed into swap, I becomes A. Okay, so let's look at that again real quick. So if we're swapping this, I becomes A right here. J becomes B. This right here becomes C. And this right there, the value of that becomes D. So I originally is 0 and J originally is 0. So A is 0, B is 0. And then we said 2 minus 0 minus 1 is 1. And 2 minus 0 minus 1 is 1. So C is 1 and D is 1. Okay? And that helps out here in a second. If I gets passed into swap, I becomes A. If I is 0, A is 0. So thus A equals 0. If J gets passed into swap, J becomes B. If J is 0, B is 0. Thus B equals 0. So if your mat is 0, 0, row 0, column 0 is 2. It's this one right here. And this is what's weird about this question again. Like, I don't think they explain it very well. You're just supposed to kind of look at it and understand it. And it's not an easy question to look at and understand. But I think if you go through this, you should see where I get row 0, column 0 right there is 2. Okay. So then we do the same thing, which I kind of did before, but if size minus j minus 1 gets passed in a swap, size minus j minus 1 becomes c. If size minus j minus 1 is 1, c is 1. Thus c equals 1. And then if size minus I minus 1 gets passed in a swap, size minus I minus 1 becomes d. If size minus I minus 1 is 1, D is 1. So thus D equals 1. So you've got 1 comma 1 for C and D. Row 1 column 1 is 3. So 2 and 3. If the intention is to swap what's at position 0, 0, which is this one, with mat position 1 comma 1, which is this one, then you take this and put it here, and you put this right here, and you swap them, and you end up getting 3, 6, 4, 2. Again, I don't think this question is the easiest to follow, but all you do is swap those. So let's see here. This one is your answer, B, because all it's doing is swapping this and doing it like that. So your answer for 4 is B. I'll post this as well in the answer sheet when I post it to Schoology. Alright, so 5. I didn't write anything out for 5, but just follow my logic here. This question refers to the following method, so it's just one big method. Let's see what this says. Now consider this code segment. Size is 8. We create a mat 2D array that's an 8 by 8. Which of the following conditions on a matrix mat of the type declared in the code segment will by itself guarantee that will have the value true when evaluated? Alright, so we're passing in the 2D array, and then row becomes 2, column becomes 2, and then symbol becomes the dollar symbol. Alright, so let's look at this. So Boolean is yes. Oh no, we create a Boolean yes. We've got an int I and a count 0. So for I equals 0, I is less than size. So I is less than 8, I plus plus. So if we're at row 0, column 2, if what's at row 0, column 2 is the symbol, then we count this up. Okay? Now, let's look at this line real quick, because we would have to do this over and over again until size is equal to 8, all right? But yes is equal to, basically this is an if statement. Count is equal to size. So size is 8, we got to get count to 8. If 8 is equal to 8, then yes is true. Okay? Now, let's come down here and look at this return statement. Yes or count. So if this right here is true, this right here returns true no matter what. So because of how OR statements work, true or anything is true. True or true is true. True or false is true. So we just want to check to see if that's true. So if this stands by itself, how would we get this count to equal 8? Well, that would mean row 0, column 2 is a $sign. Row 1, column 2 is a $sign. Row 2, column 2 is a $sign, all the way to row 7. Row 7, column 2, it would be a dollar symbol, then that would be, count would be 8. Okay? Because remember, we started 0 here. 0's got to be less than the size, which is 8. So we got to get all of these in row 2. Column 2 to be a dollar symbol. And if that is true, then that means the element in 2 and column 2 is a dollar symbol. This actually would make the whole thing true, but this has an and in here, meaning you need to have that and that. But all we need to have is this first thing to be true. Okay? So your answer, all elements in column 2 are dollar symbols. That would make this whole thing true. So 2 is not right. And 1 actually is right, but there's an extra and in there, which, is not needed. We just need that to occur. So once we do this part, we don't even have to come down here to check this part right here for count. All this is doing is checking to see if row 2, column 0, row 2, column 1, row 2, column 2, if that works. So your answer for this one is B. Okay, and I am going to do this on a separate video, just because it's kind of easier to break this thing up a little bit. So.